Hello. We're starting. It's happening. I see Sassy in the chat. Hi. Uh-oh. I have the sound on that one. We don't want that. We'll end up with echoing. Hi. Hey, cat. I should actually move this over to here so that I can see chat. Your husband says hello. Hello, Sassy's husband. Well, I suppose Sassy's mom's husband. Gets a little weird. Gotta be careful about that. Ooh, you got chocolates? I saw your chocolates. You also had some very delicious looking, was it caramel marshmallows? I think it was caramel marshmallows, you said, or something like that. Yeah. I'm allergic to streaming. Excuse me, I'm allergic to streaming. Ah. Apologies. Hi. Maiwa, it's the middle of the night. Isn't it? Caramel marshmallows were good. You already had them. Jelly. That sounds delicious. I'm gonna have to have some chocolate after stream, I guess. So we're doing a little swatch and review thing, a little live swatchy with the February release for Arcana. So these ones are coming out tomorrow, actually. If you're watching live, and if you're watching the VOD, then they might already be out. They are releasing at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Valentine's Day. It is not a Valentine's themed collection. Not even close. It is a myths and folklore themed collection. So, from a variety of different cultures. They've taken inspiration sort of from all over the place. And the collection is called Beyond the Myth. Oh, Naiwa, you're not one of the Euro crew? Yeah, I know Katya is one of the Euro crew. For some reason I thought you were also one of the Euro crew, but Texas, you're in a very reasonable time zone, so. Cat, you have a horrible hangnail. Oh, I'm sorry. Gotta take care of that. So this collection is very heavy on thermals. So there are, perfect time of year for it. There are 6 thermals. So these 6 up here are all thermals. These 6 here down here are not. There's only 1 magnetic in this collection, but oh, she's a stunner. So I am going to swatch the thermals on my hand that has a little more free edge. But of course, one of them is not going to fit because I simply don't have enough nails. And then on these other ones, I guess I'll probably do them on the other hand. And I might just do the magnetic out of these ones on the swatch wheel. So I do have a swatch wheel. I'm gonna also swatch everything on the swatch wheel as well as what I'm putting on my nails. But yeah, I obviously won't be able to put all of them on my nails. So let's just get straight into it. I'm thinking we'll do the thermals first, and it is warm in here, especially under the lights. So very likely we're going to end up with mostly warm phase on my nails. And y'all know I run very hot. So that is why we will also have them on the swatch wheel. So you will definitely be able to see the cool, even if I'm way too hot to show that on my nails. You drowned your nails yesterday because you were getting side nail peels? Yeah, I actually just did a little, well, sort of a short oil soak as I was setting up for stream. It was only maybe 20 minutes or so, but much needed. I've been swatching a lot the last few days. I have a couple of collections that I'm swatching for March, and I had some other stuff as well that I needed to do for a couple of brands. So my poor nails, they start to feel it. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Nightmare of Point Pleasant. And I have the info sheet up, thankfully. I was smart enough to actually pull it up ahead of time. And now that I have this streaming set up where I actually have like my laptop involved with everything, it's kind of nice because I can actually have the info sheet up sort of up and facing and in a reasonable way. So I don't need Kat to know everything for me anymore, which is nice. Nice for Kat to not have to be my entire brain while I'm streaming. So Nightmare of Point Pleasant is inspired by Mothman. This is, as I said, this is a thermal. So it's gray to black with these bright red flakes that hopefully you can see here. Let me see if I can. Well, I think that's about as good as that's going to get. But yeah. So I will swatch it. I believe, as I recall, I think I ended up swatching everything in 3 coats. Most of them are slightly sheer but buildable so that they're opaque or very close to it in 3 coats. There are a few of them that even in the 3rd coat there's a little bit of visible nail line, but nothing that's like, offensive, I guess. Nothing that is like, oh, that's a topper. Not anywhere near to that extent. They all build quite nicely. So you will see. So there's the first coat, and yeah, very, very responsive thermal. It starts to clear up quite quickly on my thumbnail. Yeah, you outsourced your brain functions by getting me set up with the capture card. It was extremely, extremely helpful. Okay, second one is Emissary of Inari, and this one is inspired by, now, I don't know if it's kitsune or kitsune. I'm going to have to get one of you to tell me this. I know it's nine-tailed fox from Japanese folklore that I've picked up through, years. But I don't know the correct pronunciation for it. So if one of you knows the correct pronunciation for that, please let me know. But yeah, this one goes sort of pink, like a pale pink. They call it a pinkish white. I would definitely call it just like a pastel pink. That it turns when it's warm, and of course the sort of rosy, almost wine-colored, but it's a little bit desaturated. It's like sort of a muted wine-colored in the cold phase, and it's got this lovely shimmer that's a red to orange shimmer. Mostly you're going to see the red. It does go Come on, focus up for me, please. Thank you. Yeah, you'll mostly see the red shimmer, but it does go orange at angles. So you do see it as you're sort of walking around, but it's more of an extreme angle thing. Kat is saying kitsune. I thought it might be because it's Japanese, and to my understanding, they pronounce every syllable. But I've also heard it said kitsune a lot, which I don't know. Anyway, thank you. Kelpie's Guise is the next one. And this one's really interesting because it in the bottle it sort of looks almost like it might be a Prugly because it's got this like purple. I'll try and get it without the flash from the light, but with the shimmer. It's hard to get that angle just right for the camera, but it's got that purple shimmer to it that you would think would make it a little bit Prugly, but it actually, because the warm phase is blue and the green itself has a fairly cool tone to it. I don't think that I would categorize it as a Prugly at all. So yeah, this one's Kelpie's Guise, which is obviously inspired by Kelpies, which are, I think they're Scottish, aren't they? Isn't it a Scottish myth that's like some sort of water spirit that I think they take the form of horses or something like that in at least some of the folklore that I've read. Polished Mess, you have arrived. Welcome. That calls for a sip of tea. I'm having some, what is it called? I call it tiger tea. What's the real name of it? Bengal spice. That's the stuff. Bengal spice. It's from Celestial Seasonings. Delicious. You get to hear me slurp. Oh, I should probably swatch this on the swatch stick too, or the swatch ring too. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, Japanese being mispronounced a lot is sort of inevitable. But, you know, they mispronounce a lot of English things, so it's fine. It's fine. We can all mispronounce things that are not in our native language, and it's okay to do that, I think. The Loch Ness Monster is a Kelpie? Sus. So yeah, you can see on my finger where it's actually warmed up already, of course, because I am boiling. You do have a little bit of the green on the tip still, but it's completely changed to that sort of tealy blue color with the purple shimmer. So it ends up looking almost vaguely blurple-ish in the right light when you've got the shimmer. It's an interesting polish. You don't mind the slurping, but when you were drinking the Jarritos, is it Jarritos? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Your swatch videos, you hated hearing yourself gulp. The lapel mic is so close to your throat. Yeah, that's a dangerous one. This next one is Gorgon's Gaze. This is the proper Prugly of the collection, and oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's this gorgeous like olive. It's a very desaturated olive green. It's like a gray green with this amazing red shimmer. Try to catch the shimmer without catching too much of the actual light. Love this one, and when it warms up, it goes just sort of a sage green. Obviously inspired by Gorgons, specifically Medusa, who I personally consider to be a feminist icon, because that woman was wronged by so many men. And she got her revenge. Boy, did she ever. And I think that's just nice. Yeah, benefits of streaming, you don't have to edit yourself later. It's really, that is the main benefit. I really enjoy not having to edit myself. I don't mind doing editing for the short, like the little 1 minute or less, often 20 seconds or less reels that I do for Instagram and for the YouTube shorts. But boy, I don't think I would want to spend a lot of time editing like a 20-minute thing. It sucks. Okay. Yeah, Medusa's Revenge is totally cathartic. You hear Jammy? Can you also hear the crickets? I bet you can hear the crickets. Let me see if I can get a better... See if I can capture Jammy's sound a little nicer here. She stopped. I think I woke her up. I can't move my mic back there without waking her up. So she stopped snoring. Oh well. You're here listening to me as radio, Mei. Okay, next one up is Watch Your Sanity. This was one of my favorites of the collection. And it's a really lovely, delicate sort of polish, actually. So this one's based off of Hantu, which are a kind of vengeful spirit, I gather. This specific one they've based off of the way that they look in the game Phasmophobia, which I have not played, but I have watched. I've watched streams of, which is pretty entertaining, actually, looking game. It looks very silly, yeah. So they describe this one as a light pinkish purple to very dark purple thermal, with purple glow in the dark pigment and green to blue to purple large particle shimmer. Now, I will say, the effect of this on my nails, they say that it turns to a dark purple when it's cold. On my nails, it never really quite looked dark purple to me. What it looked to me was sort of a grayed out greenish tone in the warm. In the cool, and the pinky purple in the warm, and I think that's just the shimmer dominating the purple undertones when it's cold. So it is going to depend on the light, but yeah, that was my experience of it. I didn't feel like it was a purple polish, if that makes sense. So we'll get our one coat on there and our one coat on here. You can see that shimmer really dominates. And while it is a purple tinted base, it's definitely sort of a grayed out. It's a very desaturated purple, I think. It's only a purple on paper is what I'm saying, Kat. It's only a purple on paper. Okay, from air to sea, I've run out of fingers that have significant free edge. I wonder if I should put it on a nail, though, just to make sure that you can see the warm phase for this. So I'll go ahead and put that on this thumbnail. So you'll be able to see the warm on my thumb and the cool on the swatch ring. So, sorry, this one is, what's this one based on? Sirens, I think? From air to sea, yeah, sirens. There's a funny thing with the siren myths is that they were originally seen as an air dwelling creature. They're like bird like creatures, but somehow they became associated with the sea at some point in time. And they're often sort of illustrated as being up on the rocks, on a rocky shoreline or something, luring sailors to their doom. This one is, I guess, some of the more modern myths of sirens actually have them as like swimming as well. I don't know. But yeah, so light pink to blue to deep purple, so it's a trithermal, with blue to green shimmers and pink, blue, purple flakes. So hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of the mid temperature. Can be a little bit of a challenge when I don't have the sort of full length nail. It's one of those things that like you see as you're going through your day. You'll see it change color multiple times, and sometimes it'll be blue, and sometimes it'll be pinky, and sometimes it'll be very purple. But it's not necessarily easy to sort of dial in to get exactly the color you want when you want it. Yeah, Jammy's back to snoring. The siren purple is definitely Marie coded. You're absolutely right. I also suspect that Kat would like it, but I know that Kat does not buy nail polish as a general rule. Do I want to keep going through? Let's keep going through. So the next one, let's do Titania, or you may prefer to call it Titania. I like Titania. Titania was, of course, the queen of the fairies. If you read, oh, for heaven's sake, which one is it? Which Shakespeare is it that has Titania and Oberon and Puck? It's been too many years. Anyway, Queen of the Fairies. So this one is a bright burgundy jelly base with blue to purple shimmer, blue to purple flakes, and pink reflective glitter. So you can't, I don't know if you can really, yeah, there you go. You can definitely see that pink reflective glitter in there doing its very pinky thing. I always think that reflectives look so cool in lower light conditions. I know that, people like to photograph them with the flash on to get that super bright sort of street sign in the headlights sort of effect, but I actually don't like the way that they look. When they're like that, they strike me as being very cartoonish. I much prefer the way that reflectives look in regular lighting when they're just adding some extra sparkle, and especially in low light, they add just such an unexpected little touch of magic. Midsummer Night's Dream, thank you. Honestly, what's wrong with me? Woodland Sprite. I posted this one today. Woodland Sprite. This is a cute little shimmer. I think you can probably guess from the name. It is inspired by woodland sprites. They specifically say a forest nymph covered in leaves and flowers, which I think they sort of did a pretty good job of capturing the sort of general fae vibe with this. So this one's one of the more sheer ones. It's a purple jelly base with green to purple shimmer. And it's got some teal blue flakes and pink reflective glitter in this one as well. This is a cute one because in the sort of more sunny conditions. It vibes mostly sort of a muted orchidy kind of color, but in the shade it's like pure turquoise. It really changes. You played Titania in a school play. I played so in Midsummer Night's Dream. There's a role that traditionally does not have any speaking parts, that is just called fairy, which is often sort of played by an assortment of random fairies. But she is in a number of scenes opposite Puck, where he's basically just playing off of her. And it was grade 10. I think it was grade 10. I was in Midsummer Night's Dream, but the director decided to flesh out the fairy role into a full speaking part and gave her a song and some of Puck's lines and whatnot. And so that was what I played. So I really should have remembered that it was Midsummer Night's Dream. I'm getting ready to paint here without actually telling you anything about this polish that I'm about to do, which is Brynhildr, or Brunhilda, who is one of the Valkyrie, perhaps the most famous Valkyrie, one of the few that you actually get to know the name of. And this one, obviously, a bright blue flaky bomb. This is a really cute one. I like this one a lot. It does stay a little bit sheer as it builds. It will have a little bit of visible nail line. The official description is a bright blue base with pink to yellow large particle shimmer, with green, purple, pink, green, and silver blue flakes. So you can see that shimmer in there, but it really does, on the nail, it really is a bright blue as it gets built up. You only remember Lysander, so you think you played Lysander or Hermia. That makes sense. Mochi on the Moon, another of my favorites from this collection. I really, really like this one. It's so glowy. It's so lovely in low light conditions. You see that beautiful blue. It goes slightly into a more indigo at some angles, but it also goes through the full blue sort of range into an almost teal. Yeah, really like this one. So Mochi on the Moon, based on a fable about a rabbit on the moon, or rabbit and the moon, it says here. I'm not familiar with this fable. I probably should have looked it up, but I did not. It is a gray Crelly base with bright blue to purple aurora pigment and silver reflective glitter. And I think it captures some very sort of moonlit night kind of vibes. I think this is a really pretty one. Big fan of this. I love a lightly tinted gray base with a glowy shimmer. It's just real pretty. We are, of course, going to build all of these up in 3 coats as we go along here. Now, I've run out of fingers for the last 2. Marie, you usually played guys in Shakespeare plays? All the best roles are men, though, or most of them. You played Mercutio every chance you got. That seems like a good thing to play. Ashes of Creation. This is also one of my favorites from this collection. So this one is inspired by like a phoenix. What's the word I'm looking for? Regenerating. What is it? Being reborn, I guess, from the ashes. So it's got this sort of nice flamey sort of colors in the flakes. I think they're all like yellow orange flakes. Hang on, where is the official description? Creamy white base with yellow, orange, orange red, and bright red flakes. So it's got some iridescent flakes in there, which in some light you'll see actually they'll look blue. But it also has the red metallic flakes, so it will always have at least, regardless of the lighting, it will always have at least some of the red effect to the flakes. And I really, really love this one. It does build up quite beautifully in 3 coats, and I just think it's super pretty. I am a little bit of a sucker for a white crelly with iridescent flakes in it. But yeah, it's a good one. And last but not least, of course, another one of my favorites, the one and only magnetic. This one is Strange Spectacle. And this is based off of the famous photograph of the Loch Ness Monster. Is it Surgeon is the guy's name that took that? Do they have that written on here? They don't. I think the guy's name was Surgeon that wrote that. That took that photo, rather. Okay, so let's see if I can manage to do one that's velvet. Hopefully this will work tolerably well despite being a suboptimal placement in the velvet rig. So we'll do one velvet, and I'll also do one with just a bar magnet to get the cat eye effect, so you can see both. Cat Shark, you have a soft spot for grays. Also fun to try matte. Nicole is turning you into a white crelly with flakes fan. Yeah. I do not like, oh dear, I think I'm going to sneeze again. Hang on a second. Sorry. Sina, don't harass your sister, please. Okay. The sneeze is at bay. But Jammy Dodgers jumped down to go get a drink of water, and of course, Cinnamom, who is hanging out in here with us, decided she also had to jump down and see what Jammy was up to. It's very important. Maymay, you've made it home, and Bebe will not let you out of the car. Well, you have to pay the pet's tax. You simply must pet the cat. You know what? This is not the best magnet to use for that. Let's use this. This will be better for this. And I'm going to skip one so that I don't mess up one with the other. And then we will go back to the start and do a second coat of everything. Aw, he's purring away, is he? What a good boy. Okay, I'll just set that magnet aside, and we'll go back to the beginning. So you can see that first thermal, which is Nightmare of Point Pleasant, the Mothman one. Very, very sheer in one coat. It does go sort of clear slash like white gray-ish when it's I guess it's supposed to be gray when it's in the warm state, but it is, as they often are in the warm state, fairly sheer. So you do generally want to build them up. This is true of most thermals. They tend to want 3 coats because most of the time they are going to be a little sheer in that warm phase. I have been really enjoying thermals that are like a gray or clear to black base with some kind of glitters and stuff in them. I think actually my first one was an Arcana. It was it was from the Mushrooms collection. The ink cap one. That one, I absolutely fell in love with this like witchy vibe it gives. Yeah, I'm hooked now. I really, really like it. I like feeling witchy. It just makes me happy. Okay, so this is second coat. I really like the red metallic flakes. I think it's the same red metallic flake that they used in Ashes of Creation as well. It looks like it's probably the same one. Actually, that was one of the things that I really liked about this collection straight away was the sort of cohesive feeling of these three in particular. Those were the first three that I pulled out of the box, and I immediately just went, ooh, yes. Ooh, I like those. I like those together. And this as well, actually. Emissary of Inari. This goes beautifully with those as well. Just a really nice little color story. Yeah, Drops of Ink or something. I can't recall the exact name of it. But it was definitely inspired by the purple ink cap mushrooms, which are, I believe, terribly toxic. Okay, second coat for Emissary of Inari. These swatch ring nails are so much bigger than my nails are. I always have to double dip. See that nice shift. I really, really like this one. And, you know, I'm not necessarily always the biggest fan of pinks, but I like the red shimmer over it, and I like the sort of red burgundy vibe of the cool phase. And I feel like the shimmer makes it interesting enough that I'm not a fan of the lighter pink in there. It's a pretty color, I think. Overall vibe, definitely feeling it. Third coat of Kelpie's Guys. That's what it is. Dredging that up out of the brain. Kelpie's Guys. Well, because there's Kelpie's Guys and Gorgon's Gaze. Kelpie's Guys and Gorgon's Gaze in the same collection. And I have them right after, like one right after the other, so obviously my brain is going to mix them up. So obviously this one I was going to love no matter what. It's green, it's blue, it's thermal, it's fun, it's flaky. But yeah, I'm a fan. I think this one's really fun. You can definitely see the color difference between the cool and the warm. Speaking of Gorgon's Gaze, I went and, oh my goodness, I dinged my thumbnail. Honestly. Who thought it was a good idea to let me loose with any of this shit? Whatever, it's fine. You keep wanting to pronounce guys as gooeys? Ray, no. Ray, don't. It's not gooeys. That's terrible. That's even worse than pronouncing graphical user interface as GUIs. All right, second coat of Gorgon's Gaze. Got a little too much on there. Bebe's trying to figure out where my voice is coming from. I love it when they do that. Cats are so stupid. It's great. Okay. Watch your sanity. Apparently my pinky is extra warm. I'm not even getting the cool tip on the end there. I definitely picked up way too much there. I feel like I need to have like a little air conditioner that just like chills the area right in front of where I'm working, just for when I'm doing thermals. See what I mean though with this one about how it, like, yes, it's a purple base when it's in the, and I mean it's pinky purple in the warm as well, but when it's in the cool, technically it's a purple base, but it does not in any way vibe purple. Like, it's, you would never call that a purple. It's just it looks more gray because that shimmer just totally takes over. You were given a chance to pet the belly, it was a trap. It usually is. It isn't for Jammy and Budgie. They actually like to have their tummies rubbed. And I don't think they have ever attacked my hand. They're not very cat-like cats, though. But Cinna, absolutely. She likes the tummy rubs, but she also likes attacking the hand. So I give her the tummy rubs with the full knowledge that I am going to get bunny kicked. But she's very careful. She almost never manages to actually leave any scratch marks anymore. She's gotten quite good at it. This one is from Air to Sea. This is the one based on sirens. And I don't think I really showed you before I added the second coat, but it definitely goes quite pinky when it's very warm. And here, of course, you're seeing it in the darker, totally cool phase. All right. Yeah, it is a game. Titania. I also have a problem where I keep wanting to call this Tatiana because I used to work with a woman named Tatiana who was an absolute delight. And I always loved her name. So as you can see, this is a little bit more sheer, this one. So if you really hate visible nail line and you have longer nails, you probably would want a blurring base with this one. This one and Woodland Sprite, I think, are the two that are the most sheer in this collection. Woodland Sprite being the one that I'm about to swatch now. So we get our second coat. I personally don't mind when a sort of paler polish like this is a little more sheer. I did not put that on my fingernail. I know some people are allergic to visible nail line. I don't mind it when it's a paler polish. I don't like it if it's like a very dark or very saturated polish. I don't like seeing a lot of visible nail line personally. But But yeah, when they're paler like this, I don't mind. All right, and then Brynhilder. Hello, little Miss Dodgers. You've returned. Where did your stepsister go? Budgie Smuggler is in with Brian tonight. She has discovered that there is a little cubby where Brian put a felted wool bed that's up on a shelf, so she can feel sort of safe and protected, and it's also cozy. So she's been napping there a lot. I did not put a second coat on my finger for that. That's the thing exactly, Ray. It's so hard not to have it be patchy if it's both dark and very sheer. And I'm not a fan of that. Which I think is part of why I like flakies so much, right? Because when you have, oh, for heaven's sake, bloody cat hair, man, gets everywhere. When you have lots of flakes and stuff, it sort of masks any patchiness. You just build up the flakes and it's all good. Okay, Mochi on the Moon. This lovely glowy creature here. This one does build up quite nicely. I got a little... I don't know if that's a little bit of unmixed pigment. Just brush that off over there. Yeah, looks like a little unmixed pigment there. That is not a problem I had encountered before. Hopefully that's a one-off. Always a risk with hand-mixed nail polish, of course. And second coat there. And then we will get, oh gosh, Ashes of Creation, that's what it's called. This is the one that's inspired by the rebirth of a phoenix. I feel like I'm going to sneeze again. Oh, all right, we'll see you later, Marie. Here it comes. Excuse me. Love that for me. It's great. Okay. And then finally, second coat of, and it's going to happen again. It is. Oh my goodness gracious. Honestly. I'm telling y'all, I'm allergic to streaming. Okay. Apologies. Some very exciting sinus stuff happening tonight, apparently. Of course the sneezing fits will happen when my nails are wet and I'm in the middle of swatching. It's really difficult to blow your nose properly when your nails are wet. All right. Give me one moment. I'm just going to run to the bathroom and do a proper nose blowing. Hang on a second. I'm back. All right. Apologies. Okay, so we've got the velvet version of Strange Spectacle. So we'll get the cat eye second coat going here. There we go. All right. So that's our second coat. I did mess up my nails. I tried so hard not to mess up my nails, but you know, to blow my nose, and then I had to wash my hands, then I had to dry my hands. It's very difficult to do all of that with wet nails without messing up your nails. So, you know, it's okay. We have a third coat to go still. We'll get her done. And then we got to figure out what I'm going to stream next week, because I think it's going to be time for a nail art stream next week. I really like these. This magnetic, I tell ya, Arcana, I mean, they're putting out bangers all over the place, but I really like their magnetics. They do such a nice job with them. Okay, third and final coat. Nightmare of Point Pleasant. I'm like, Nightmare, Point something, I don't know. Nightmare of Point Pleasant. This is the one that's inspired by Mothman. So I assume Point Pleasant is a locale that is wherever the Mothman is purported to be. I don't know where the Mothman is supposed to be from. Do y'all know? Is that like common knowledge? Where the Mothman is supposed to be from? All right, there we go. Third and final coat. See those red flakes. I really like this one. Definitely one of my favorites. Hi, Jammy Dodgers. What can I do for you? Baby girl. Jammy might need to come up on my lap for a second. New Jersey, that's where Mothman is from. Hang on. Come here, Jams. Come here. Come here. Okay, we ready? Here she is. It's the Jammy Dodgers. It's like, why? Why is this happening to me? Okay, run away. Now I have cat fur all over my hands again. Wikipedia says West Virginia. Maybe Mothman, maybe there's more than one. Maybe there's like a family of Mothmen. There's the Virginia Mothman and the Jersey Mothman. Maybe there's multiple Mothmen. I like, what's the creature that is basically just like legs, just like white legs and a face? I can't remember what that one's called. It's just like a pair of jaunty white legs. All right, third coat here. Different species of moths, yeah, maybe. So that's the third coat of Emissary of Inari, the one that is inspired by Kitsune. Come on. Thank you. It has just the most gorgeous glow to it. I really love this shimmer. And of course, super pretty in the warm phase. I really, really like this one. I feel like it's hard to appreciate the shimmer in this lighting, but it's really quite transformative. Okay, Kelpies, guys. Get our third coat on here. You can see it really pulls quite blue when it's in that it's in that warm state rather. And it's really a lovely sort of springy, a bright springy green in the cold phase. Okay, get a third coat rather on the wheel. Just white legs and a face sounds like some AI mode trying to stitch photos together. Yeah, no, there's an actual, some sort of cryptid. I'm not even sure if it has a proper face, really. It might just have eyes. I'm not sure. But it doesn't have any arms or like a proper torso or anything. It's just like long white legs. I really like the contrast between the cool and the warm on this. I did go outside briefly while I was wearing this one previously, and got a pretty good contrast. But you know, I run so hot, I do actually have to go outside in the cold in winter for several minutes in order to get the green to show in a strong way. My brain is only offering Virginia Creeper, which is so obviously wrong. I know it's not that, but I don't know what it's called. Someone help me out here. Come on. Let me see if I can find it. Cryptid with legs. Fresno Nightcrawler. It's the Fresno Nightcrawler that I'm thinking of. It's just, the photos of it are hilarious. You need to, yeah. It's very funny. It's a very funny creature. I really like it. I think it's my favorite cryptid because it's just so silly. It does not make any sense at all. Like, what are you going to do? You're just walking around being leggies. That's not threatening. What are you going to do to me? You going to do a little kicky? You going to do a little run? It's just silly. It's a silly cryptid. Makes me happy. Alright, third coat of Gorgon's Gaze. There's that gorgeous dark olive cold phase. I love the red shimmer on this. Absolutely love it. And then, of course, when it's in its warmer phase, you get that soft sage. Really pretty. I love this one. Of course I love that one. You knew I was going to love that one. Watch Your Sanity. Third coat. And this one was a surprise because I did not, based on the description, I did not think that I would like it as much as I do. But there's that cold phase. And of course, you know, seeing it in the bottle, I immediately went, ooh, that's not what I expected at all. And I love it. I always like it when a polish surprises me. And this one surprised me. And I like it in the warm phase as well, when it has that sort of pale purpley pink, because the shimmer is just so lovely on it. Keeps it interesting. Okay. Next up, from Air to Sea. Have you seen what Black Widow does with her legs? That's true. Black Widow could just have her legs and be fairly terrifying, but I don't know. I feel like it's less scary when it's only the legs. So this is the third coat of From Air to Sea. This is the one that is based on sirens. So in the cool state, dark purple, you get a lot of the pink coming out in the flakes, but you can also, hopefully you can also see that they also shift into a sort of a soft turquoise and slightly sort of orangey tone. There's a bunch of different colors that those flakes shift to. And then there it is in the warm in 2 coats. So I'll put that third coat on. And I think actually you're getting a little bit of the mid tone on the edge there. It's not quite as dark purple as the full cool. And I've got cat hair all over this thumb. So this one is the one that's a trithermal, so it does have sort of a mid-blue shift when it's partway through. Just hard to capture, I find. That shimmer is so pretty. Yes. I'm going to assume that you're talking about Watch Your Sanity, because that is one of my favorite shimmers from this. So here's our third coat of Titania. Not Tatiana. And this one is kind of just a nice, juicy, sort of a berry look on the nail. It's got that nice blue shift from the shimmer. Very pretty sparkle. There you can see it on the wheel. Looks a little more sheer on the wheel, of course. What with that being a clear base. So obviously these are going to change. These more sheer ones in particular are going to look a little different on the wheel than they do on my skin tone or anybody else's skin tone. Which is why I'm trying to swatch as many of them as possible on my skin. Or on my nails, rather. Not on my skin. That would be weird. This one is Woodland Sprite. Are you looking for cinnamon? Jamie? Oh, I don't know where Jamie went. She was in here. Apparently, cats have disappeared on me. Brian is out looking for them. All right, so there's our third coat of Woodland Sprite. Also has that lovely, it might even be the same shimmer. Not sure if it's the same shimmer that's in the, well, maybe, well, yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like it might be a little less green, a little more tealy, a little more turquoisey. But again, that one's a little bit more sheer, so it looks pretty opaque on my shorter nails here, but if I had this one on my other hand, and you can see in my swatch photos that I posted, that one I posted today, I think, or maybe yesterday. But on my longer nails, there is a little bit of visible nail line with that. So if you don't like that, you would want to wear a little bit of blurring base with that, or some kind of an undie. Brunhilde, third coat. I really like this one. She's just pretty. She's just pretty. Alright, and then third coat on the nail. This really is just like a straight up blue on the nail. You're getting a bit more of the, it looks like from the camera is picking up a bit more of the pink shift from the flakes. But when you have less of that, like from my angle, I'm seeing more of the sort of more teal shift. So the whole thing pulls slightly more to the teal side of the blue. But the base itself is really a pretty straight ahead sort of cerulean blue. Mochi. Mochi on the moon. It's just so cute. It also makes me want to eat mochi, not the rabbit. Cats, there's no need for that. There was just some hissing from the hallway. What's going on? Jammy, you don't need to hiss at Cinnamon. She's not trying to murder you. Jammy Dodgers is convinced that Cinnamon is attacking her all the time, and Cinnamon just wants to play. But Jammy is a cranky old lady who has no interest in playing. So there's Mochi on my pinky in 3 coats. I really, really like this one. Love that glowy blue, that little bit of silver reflective, sparkling. It feels very appropriate for the subject. Just gonna take a little sip here. Gem, the black grays look amazing. You know, they're all pretty freaking beautiful if you ask me. They did a great job with this collection. Not that that's unusual. I gotta say, Arcana has really been just killing it with all their collections. Alright, this is the 3rd coat of Ashes of Creation. So this is the one that is inspired by the rebirth of a phoenix. I love this one. Those flakes are just, they're so intense. I really like them. I don't know if you can see the blue shift on some of them, particularly when the light is sort of not striking the flakes. The iridescent flakes shift to a pale blue, which I just really like. I think it makes it even more flame-like in my mind. All right, and then 3rd coat, we'll do it both ways, velvet and cat eye. Even though I hate to have to use so much of this, showing it off for y'all, because honestly, you know I love a magnetic. It seems unfair that I have to swatch it extra times just to show you various different ways to magnetize it. And then I have less of it to wear for myself. What's going on there? They're just hanging out together?
They were downstairs hanging
And now they're upstairs.
Cinnamon was just like sitting there watching Jamie drink.
Cinnamon is like obsessed with Jammy Dodgers. She just follows her around and watches her do stuff. So Jammy went downstairs, Cinna had to follow her downstairs. Jammy came back upstairs, Cinna had to follow her upstairs. Jammy went to get a drink of water. Cinna sits there and just watches her.
She's gonna get a drink too.
Oh, it's Cinna's turn to get a drink.
She's a copycat.
Yeah. Cats are ridiculous.
Jamie, I think you have an in my order.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie says, screw that.
So funny. She is not impressed. Not at all. But yeah, Cinna just keeps trying so hard to be friends. The joys of bringing a third cat into the house. All right. And you know, Cinna is like, she's old enough to, I think, seem a little bit threatening in a way that a kitten wouldn't. And she kind of came on a little strong when she first came into the house because she's, you know, she was a street cat. She was used to having to fight for territory and whatnot outside. So it took a little while for her to figure out that actually these two weren't going to murder her. And so she didn't have to respond as though she was going to murder them. She didn't have to go on the offensive. Yeah, no, Budgie is still too scared to interact with Cinna. Budgie is 100% convinced that Cinna is in fact going to murder her, and immediately flees, which of course is a wonderful game as far as Cinna is concerned, and so Cinna gives chase. And it's very stressful for Budgie, so we still keep them separated for now. We're letting Jammy and Cinna intermingle as long as somebody is home. They can intermingle in the same space, but Budgie is still secluded. She gets to move around the house and be in different areas. So sometimes, you know, Cinna will be closed up in Brian's office, and Budgie will have the run of the house, or, you know, sometimes it's the opposite. So we're keeping them separated for now. Just because it's, you know, Budgie and Jammy, they're, 16 years old now? And Jammy has always been willing to stick up for herself and be assertive, but Budgie is just terrified of everything. So, yeah, we kind of feel like it's not worth stressing her out quite that much. At least not for now. We want to try and do some slow introduction over time, but I think it's probably going to be a very long process. Okay, so let me just show you the two magnetic modes. So this one's Strange Spectacle on both of these, which is the one that's inspired by the Loch Ness Monster black and white photos. And hopefully you can see in the areas where the silver magnetic pigment is cleared, you get the blue and green, or blue to green shifting flakes peeking through, which is really lovely and watery. I really like that. It's a nice formula too. Builds nicely, magnetizes easily. Really lovely. Okay, so that's the whole set, y'all. That's all of them. So yeah, you can see how warm I run. Like, it's impossible for me to, when I've got the studio lights on, there's no way. It's ridiculous. I actually was like sticking my hands out the window for a while when I was doing swatching for these earlier. Okay, so wrap up. We've got the, I'll just stab myself here. Got the warm and cool phases of Nightmare of Point Pleasant. And then warm and cool phases of Emissary of Inari, warm and cool phases of Kelpie's Guise, and the warm and cool phases of Gorgon's Gaze. And then warm and cool phases of Watch Your Sanity. And then here, the warm and cool phases of From Air to Sea. And then the rest are not thermals, but you can see the difference on my nail versus on the clear swatch ring of Titania, which is one of the more sheer ones in the collection, but does build up close to opacity, but not quite full opacity in 3 coats. Similarly, Woodland Sprite does not quite reach opacity in 3 coats. It is a little more sheer. Brunhilde. This one, it's going to depend on your application. I think if you do really thin coats, or if you have a very sort of highly visible nail line, you might see a little nail line in this one. And then Mochi on the Moon. This one was pretty opaque for me in 3 coats. And then the last 2 I did not have room for on my nails. Ashes of Creation is the white Crelly. And then the magnetic done 2 ways is Strange Spectacle. It is a beautiful collection, I think. I really like that it's not yet another pastel seasonal collection. I'm sorry to all the brands that are doing a pastel seasonal collection. Those are lovely as well. I'm personally not a seasonal wearer. I don't necessarily go for pastels in the spring and neons in the summer and autumn colors, neutrals and whatnot in the fall. That's not really my style. So I appreciate that there are brands that are coming out with things that are slightly off book at all times of year. So, excuse me, ladies. There's no need for that nonsense. Did y'all hear that? That's Jammy hissing because Cinna is trying to play with her again. Nonsense. Nonsense. Okay. So again, all of these are available. If you're here watching live, they'll be available tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time at arcanalacquer.com. And if you're watching the VOD, then who knows, they might already be out. Depends on when you're watching. But Arcana doesn't tend to do limited edition. As a general rule, they tend to bring back polishes. At some point in time, I imagine that will likely change as their catalog gets larger and less manageable. They are doing quite large collections, and so there's going to at some point be a limit to how many they can keep in stock. But I imagine as long as there is demand, they are likely to continue bringing things back. That certainly has been their MO so far. So I imagine they will very likely keep that up. So you don't have to worry about, it selling out instantly and never being able to get it. But yeah. And they're also just like really nice to deal with. I really like working with Arcana. They've been quite lovely. Yeah, you heard a hiss, Meme. Yeah. That's Jammy. Cinna has never once hissed at Jammy. She just tries to play with her and Jammy hisses and then Cinna runs away. It's very silly. Oh gosh, I did not say at the beginning of this, which I should have, and I will add it into the caption, that I was paid to swatch these for the brand. However, they did not pay me to do this live stream. So all my opinions on these are all my own. Yeah. Like I said, I love working with the brand, but that's mostly because the polishes are really good and the people are cool. So, honest opinion. All right. Any last second questions before I wrap up? Jammy is you with your glucose sensors. 2 of them have failed. Oh no, May May. Oh, how frustrating. And those are expensive too, my goodness. At least in America. Ugh. We're not talking about that though. We're not talking about healthcare in America. This is not the time or the place. Let's not. Okay, so if anyone does end up having a question, or if you want to see a comparison that I haven't done, or anything like that, don't hesitate to either drop me a DM or ask in the comments, whatever. I'm happy to do any comparisons and post them up on Instagram, or in DM or whatever, or on Discord. Yeah. Excuse me, ladies. I am trying to stream. Honestly. Okay, hang on. I need to show you these idiots here, if I can. Can we see? Can you see these idiots? Hello? I really need a cat cam. Because these two... Hey, there's no need to growl. Nothing is happening. She's just sitting near you and looking at you. You see what I put up with? They're ridiculous. All right, we're ending this stream. Ending the stream on absolute nonsense. Yeah, so if you have any questions or anything, drop me a comment, and I will see what I can do to help you out. Okay, thank you everyone for coming by and hanging out with me and watching this nonsense. And don't forget to like the live stream and stuff. It's good for me if you do that. Okay, thanks. Bye.